You have mentioned, I know you've done a couple of pieces on the role of HR specifically in helping organizations navigate this uncertain future. We have a fair number of folks from that community on this that are in our audience. Any specific bits of sort of advice they can take to heart?
I'll tell you what, I'll share mine if you'll share yours.
Okay, sure.
So let me start. I did a column on LinkedIn, and I'm trying to post more on LinkedIn, and we can talk about some of that idea. But I believe HR folks are, by the way, we love first responders. When there's an earthquake, when there's a fire, even today, our healthcare people, our grocery store clerks who are at the grocery store, the restaurant people, they're on the front line. I think HR people are the emotional first responders. Mm. I think business leaders are ultimately accountable, and people are accountable to themselves. So my heart goes out to the HR people as the emotional first responders. Mm-hmm. And here's the challenge. You've got to give care. I called it a caregiver, and some people didn't like the word. I know somebody who's a sweet and dear colleague who's the caregiver to her father. Mm-hmm. Who's helping her father as he goes through some surgery and as he goes through healing. I'll get emotional on that. We are caregivers, and there's emotional healing that's going on in these organizations. On the other hand, HR simultaneously got to be an ambassador or an architect of a competitive organization. Mm-hmm. You're going to hear this come up a lot in the next 30 or 40 minutes. I think that paradox between caregiving for employees and competitive organization in the marketplace is an incredible challenge. Mm-hmm. And my heart goes out to HR folks mm-hmm. who navigate that challenge and who also navigate a paradox, who's ultimately accountable and responsible for those things. It's ultimately a business leader. It's ultimately the employee themselves. How can I help you as an employee take care of yourself, the caregiving? How can I help you do work and activities that helps us succeed in a changing marketplace? So I think HR is caught between those two things. What does that mean behaviorally? Make sure that we don't overdo the caregiving. Mm. Make sure that we do care for employees, but make sure that we also hold them accountable. Mm. We do have to manage costs. We do have to manage customers. Don't overdo the customers. We're going to fire everybody. That's silly. Mm. Navigate those tensions and raise the issues. Raise the issues in a meeting. Here's a paradox I see. What do you think we should do? And I love the idea of navigating that, not managing it. When you manage a paradox, you solve it. Mm-hmm. When I read through your book on discovery-driven growth, there isn't one pathway. There's this constant navigation as you go back and forth.